and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Kelly, if you could take attendance, please.
Larry Goodrich.
Here.
Greg J.
Here.
Brandon Tanka.
Here.
Bryce Howell.
Here.
Scott Stierwald.
Here.
All right, any additions or deletions to tonight's agenda?
I have a change that needs to be placed on number 9B. It says resolution 2025-6. That actually should be ordinance number 2025-14. And that will be the first reading of
You're
that.
just trying to catch me tonight? My mic seems a little out there, bud.
Do you have anything else?
That's it, thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, can I get a motion for the change?
So moved.
Thank you, second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, at this time, I will open up the public hearing for the 2026 budget. If there are any questions, please ask. No questions? Okay, we'll close it. Approval of minutes from our August 12th regular meeting.
Motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Side note, that meeting was just phenomenal. If you missed it, Jason and I crushed it. I'm kidding. It was a debacle. Kelly, we did miss you last week.
No, I mean, it was,
We're moving on
yeah.
to claims and transfers.
Is this where we discuss the resolution to make sure they don't leave at the
Yeah,
same?
no more vacation.
Yeah. well, I was
Sorry, no more training.
Whoa, who approved that?
Okay. From general, $105,306.02.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
From water, $46,706.56.
Motion.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
From wastewater, $69,826.62.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Payroll, $48,140.97.
Motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Water Solutions Unlimited, invoice number 7170596 in the amount of $4,251.80.
Questions, council?
What was this for?
This is routine chemicals. Here, Jason's approved up to 4,000.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And WTH Technology, invoice number 33313 for the amount of $3,283. This is annual renewal for our GIS software.
Motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's all I have.
Adam?
The main thing on our agenda for me tonight is the leases for the 2 reserve cars. Obviously, they're up in this month, so we either move forward with them or
Did you get a response from our,
no.
Is that on the agenda, or is this where we're handling it right
We're handling it.
It has to be handled, it can't be tabled because,
now? Well, no, I just didn't.
No,
know
it's,
this.
yeah, we're discussing this right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will make the motion to approve said leases pending a email or letter from our carrier that they are treated like any other town vehicle. So, God forbid something was to happen.
you just want to make sure they're under the same.
I want to
umbrella
make
as
sure
other
they're the
cars.
same thing as the truck you're driving.
Yes.
And after that, I'm good. But
so we discussed, we just want to make sure those vehicles are treated the same as every other town
Yep.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
So I'll
That
make
was the
a,
email I sent.
yeah, so I will make a motion to approve those pending email
Yeah.
confirmation that they're treated like any other town-owned vehicle while on duty.
And this is for both BM Holdings and WKG Leasing.
That way it can be done before surely we'll get a response in the next 9 days, 10 days. Right, because the leases anchor up the 19th.
The new contracts would take place on the 19th of this year, yeah.
So that should give them plenty of time to give us the response that we need to that without having to wait till the October meeting.
Right.
Okay. Council,
That's my motion.
Council, anybody else have any comments on these two renewals?
It's 9 days,
We're just giving 9 days for our insurance carrier to say that it is apples to apples in the event something should happen.
will we need a special meeting?
No.
Not on the motion that Bryce has made.
The motion is, by the time the lease is set to renew, we will have that email that confirms.
Okay.
And once it confirms, then my motion is to go ahead and
Okay.
continue with the leases we have in place.
And if it's denied,
Then
then
we
the
will-
leases will end.
Yeah. And then this will be on the October agenda.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll second the price.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's, you got your monthly reports in front of you. It's been a busy month. On the other note, I'd like to give a shout out to First National Bank in Gary Neese. We're having some issues that have been brought to our attention with the weapons that we carry, possibly misfiring. We've not had any issues. Most of the departments are going to a different weapon, different brand. First National Bank has been generous enough to give us a $5,000 grant for replacing all of our hand and sidearms. So I just wanted to let them know and let council know that we are going to be replacing.
So it's a $5,000 donation.
Yes.
So they're gonna write to the police department to purchase said.
Correct.
Okay. That is good. Anything else?
That's all I got, unless you have any questions.
Thank you, sir. Jason?
The first item I have is the Okra Water Grant. I'd like to say congratulations to the council. Cloverdale was awarded $750,000 to do a water project that will mainly be at the water plant, but will also include work, some main replacement, some hydrant replacement, and some demolition. Eric Smith, that you see is here, he does have a contract for that project. I believe it has been reviewed by Mr. Shagley already.
It's been revised.
Yeah, there were a couple of revisions recommended. And Eric, if you want to address that. Actually, the next about 3 items on here, Eric will probably address as well, if that's okay.
The one thing I do want to say, what this is for the town of Cloverdale, all you guys, it's hard work, like, it's big, it's really big.
Yeah, it's good to get the grant. Those are very competitive. So we were one of the few that was able to get that. So we had scoped out a project with Jason and Richard. As he mentioned, most of it's at the plant. We're replacing filter media, replacing a hydroxide tank, and doing some building repairs so that it can be more easily accessed and maintained in the future. Doing some other tank repairs, replacing some chemical feed equipment. And then we're also building a section of the County Road 900 main that we're doing also as part of that Ready project, so there's a piece of that in there as well. So just trying to mix and match grant funds as best we can to get the best use to help the system. So Okra has a pretty specific time requirement for these grants, so they are requiring us to bid the project within 6 months from grant award, so we would be looking at getting it designed and permitted so we could bid it by February of next year. And then obviously construction will be spring and into summer. But again, most of that work would be at the plant.
It's awesome. Okay.
You want me to go ahead and hit the other items for Jason while I'm here? Okay. The next project, I'm gonna go ahead and hit since we're still on water, the Ready funded project, the US 231 North Water Supply. The contractor did remobilize in August with drier conditions. The good news is the bore under I-70 is complete. Bad news is they did hit rock, so it was a little bit more costly, but the casing is in. The water main carrier pipe has been fully installed under the highway, and we've connected on the south side of the interstate. The downside is with the funding that we had from Ready was there was limits on it. We won't be able to go as far north as what we originally planned because of the increased cost of the bore, which is about an additional $200,000 to drill through the rock. We didn't really know what we'd get into under the interstate. Could have been worse, but it certainly could have been better. So that's kind of what we're gonna work with Jason to see what the best termination point is to maximize all of the funding we have. We're not gonna leave anything on the table, but there will be a point we'll have to stop.
So if you had to guess, footage-wise,
Right now, I think we're gonna get approximately to just past the NDOT office. So it's gonna leave between there and where the 10-inch was relocated by NDOT is about 1,500 feet. Now, there's a water main there, but it's not 10.
Right.
You have a gap where there won't be 10.
right?
But it can certainly be completed at a later date if needs arise. Good thing is, we've got it on the south side of the interstate for development that may need it there.
Thank you.
Then lastly, on the wastewater project, phase 2 work, we completed. There was about $70,000 in savings from that work. With that, we proposed some additional work, which we're calling phase 3, because we still have contingency money. That work has been approved by the SRF, so Reynolds will be starting that actually next week. Some of that is smoke testing, which I think Jason was going to speak to about that. But some of the other work in that is some additional work at the plant, some manhole repairs, some lateral repairs, other things to try to pull inflow and infiltration out of the system, some point repairs. Some of this is based on the smoke testing that was done in the first phase, things they found, so fixing more defects. All told, this phase 3 work is just under $500,000, and that should leave a little over $500,000, so that the last thing that will close out the project would be the purchase of a Vector truck.
Thanks for that update.
Reynolds is estimating that this phase 3 work ought to be able to be completed by the end of October. So once that's done, we can close that piece out and look at procuring the truck.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
We need to approve the contract.
Do you have it with you?
Is it- There's copies here.
Kelly has it.
It's in your packet as well. It's a revised.
Council, do you have any questions on that? If not, looking for, obviously, approval to, for that engineer contract.
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jason?
The one thing I would mention about the Ready project going north, and Eric and I were just talking about this before the meeting. I think it will get far enough where we can abandon the existing 6-inch line that runs on the east side. Richard doesn't know this yet either. On the east side of 231, the concrete line, so we're gonna be able to feed it back across rather than going up the east side of 231 and under 70, so. We feel pretty confident we're gonna at least get that far with that, so. With regards to Richard, we do have the 2019/2020 Small Operator of the Year in our presence tonight, Richard Sussman. I'm glad to have him here.
I think we've been through this.
He's gonna be here to help answer questions if you have any. But we've got utility supply, they were on the agenda for last month and they ended up needing to attend the clerk treasurer's conference. But they're here tonight to do a presentation on a potential meter reading system. And I think that are those quotes in the packets as well? Those are in your packets also. So they'll do a presentation, kind of tell you what we're looking at, and this is the perfect time to ask questions of Richard or Utility Supply, and we can go from there.
You need that straight.
It would be helpful.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I could cast to that, that'd be great. All right, let's see if we can do this. So, hi, everyone. My name is Scott Dunlap. I'm from Utility Supply Company. We've been with the town of Cloverdale for, I don't know, since you guys had manual read meters. So it's been a long, long time. We've been here through every iteration of product, going from manual read to touch read, now to radio read, with an old handheld, and then now a drive-by system. And then the next evolution would be an AMI system, automated metering infrastructure, meaning we would put a few towers up, a few antennas up to collect reads 24/7 and automatically drop that data in here to the office, effectively removing your need to go out and meter read your entire system or to pull histories on meters. Because each one of these meters that you guys have stores 96 days worth of hourly data. It gives off all sorts of information like potential leak flags, reverse flows, no flows. So there's a whole lot of information that's being broadcast off of these meters that we have in the ground. It's just a matter of how frequently are we collecting that data. And so the next evolution in your meter reading system would be putting a couple of these towers up to collect all the reads 24/7. Let me see if I can get hooked up here. I think I can hit that cast button up here, maybe.
If not, I'm sure I could help.
You should set me up for the Bears game last night.
Let's see. No, I'm not. I'm looking at.
Brian, we might need IT here.
She's good. She does this more than I do.
There we go.
Jason. We got a little grip.
That may be the end of the season.
Yeah. We can maybe get by next week. That's probably our last
So in your packets, I don't know if you guys had an opportunity to look at some of the information. Well, we had Neptune, the meter manufacturer that we sell product for, we distribute for. They do what's called a propagation study to determine exactly how your system will read, not on the performance of our product. They overlay all your meters with the elevation with the elevation map, and they can tell with very good accuracy exactly how the system will read if we do end up putting some towers up. Can't connect with the network.
So, oh, yeah, on the laptop, I can work on it while you're talking.
Sure. So the prompt study looks really, really good. I don't have that up here right now. You may potentially have some of those around. They were looking at high 80 percentile with everything that you guys currently have in the ground. You don't have to change any meters in the ground right now. How Neptune has developed their product, it doesn't matter how you read the meters. It's all the same signal coming out of those meters. And so it's just a matter of the frequency or how frequent you're going to collect those. And if you put up a tower, it will collect all those reads, anything that it can hear. And it's typically, I'd say, about within a 1 mile radius of where we decide to put these towers. It's a guaranteed read there. Get a little bit further than that, about a mile and a quarter, mile and a half. It may not pick up every hour, but a few times a day. Get any further than that, it's less and less as you get further away from that antenna. So the studies looked really good. We had initially looked at 3 different locations, one being the water tower out by 70, one being here at Town Hall, and either using this existing pole or, it's a little short, and I think we'd be losing a lot of signal if we didn't go higher. So there are quotes in there for those 2 towers. I think we can honestly get a good majority of this done with just the 2 towers, not the 3 that we had initially thought, based on what the study looks like. And that's typically how these systems go, from a drive-by system to, hey, well, let's put up 1 tower, see how well it collects, and then we'll decide from there what the next best location would be for those, for the next tower, if we were deciding to put one up to collect those reads. Obviously, the low-hanging fruit is that water tank that we have up here, because it's already in place, there's electricity there, we're able to just get a tower climber, install the antenna, put up the equipment, plug it in, and as soon as it gets plugged in, I'll come by, I'll configure the gateway, and it'll start collecting reads and then dumping them directly into the system. And how the system will work is, as it's collecting reads, it does this daily, and you get a total number of meters that have been read daily, and then when it comes time to meter read, say we've missed 75, 100 meters, those meters will be unread, and that's for Richard to go out and pick up with his drive-by system. Further advancing down the road, if we do want, if we do say we put up a few towers, those are collecting great. We still have a few that aren't picking up. For those 1s and 2s that aren't picking up, we can use a meter that has a built-in cellular capability that will use a cellular backhaul and send off signals through the cell towers directly into your Neptune, your existing Neptune 360 software. So more and more customers are going to an AMI system, just with the difficulties of finding people to go out and read meters, having the bodies out there, and the fact that everybody wants more information. Your customers want to know if they have. Thank you so much. Customers want to know if they've potentially had any kind of leak, and that's what our software can do. So this is this is Mentone, Indiana. They're further up north. A newer customer. They're smaller than you guys are. Right now they've only got about 200 meters in, but I'm just picking on them because that's who I pulled up. So daily, what you'll see on here with an AMI system is their total consumption through all of the meters in town, really 24/7. So you're able to get that, collect that information, and then tell exactly how much consumption each customer has used through some of the reports in here. You'll see they've got a total of 201 meters installed. All of those are complete right now. Now, if we scroll down, this is the any current consumption flag, meaning either an intermittent or continuous consumption. These are your possible, I don't like to use the L word, but leak flags. These are essentially your leak flags. So you monitor this every day. The ladies in the office can log in every day, or Richard can log in and see if there's anybody new that's popped on the list of potential leaky customers. Everything in here is clickable. And then if we look at your top 10, we've got a top 10 by consumption. And this is very easy. I can just click on any one of these customers here. So I pick the second one down. And as I click on it, I'm able to see their entire meter read history. And now, like I said, each one of these meters stores 96 days worth of hourly data. Richard can go collect that using some of the equipment that he has. But if it's automatically being collected 24/7, if somebody calls and says, hey, I had a high water bill, well, hey, let me just jump in here and take a look. So let's just jump into this is August 31st right here. Midnight is on your far left-hand side. This is a 24-hour graph. So we can sell exactly down to the 1/10 of a gallon how much a customer is using and exactly in what hour that they're using that. You can then just email that directly to the customer or print that off, put it in a bill. So it's very powerful information to be able to have here at the office. So that's kind of the software in a nutshell. It's great information to have. You've got everything pretty much here on your dashboard that you need.
What benefits does that extra information have for our sewer utility?
For your sewer utility, the frequency of being able to read the meters and knowing exactly the consumption. So if we know X amount of consumption, I don't know that it benefits the sewer as much as it does the water side of things. But the only way sewer, is able to give a bill is by the water utility collecting their reads. But you can, go ahead.
I was thinking more of, and I don't know enough about our plant, but is there any benefit of knowing when our highest times are? Because you gotta assume if 7:30 is our highest time, it's a matter of time before it gets to our plant.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, you're exactly right. And I'm sure on the meters at the sewer plant, being able to take what we know has come into the plant versus what we know we've pumped and what has gone to all of our customers, and being able to calculate exactly how much has been used by the customers, how much you're receiving at the wastewater plant. It all helps in the, and IDEM is making everybody account for every bit of water. And so this does help with water loss, being able to have this kind of live information on here. So, but as far as the sewer plant, I don't, it definitely benefits the water more and maybe a little bit of the sewer, but.
Is this type of information actually accessible by the customer at any time?
We have the capability for a
Smart
customer
meter.
portal. These are technically smart meters, if you will. We do have the ability for a customer portal. It's very expensive. We've had a few customers that have tried it, but the response back from the actual end user has not been good enough the juice is not worth the squeeze at this point. Maybe down the road, it's available, and it's something we're happy to explore with you down the road. You do need to have an AMI system like this to have a customer portal. It is available, but at this point, I don't know if it's really worth the cost.
So you said you refer to these as smart meters, but earlier you said we wouldn't have to update any meters if
No.
council decides to move forward with one of these programs.
That's correct.
So if they're already in the ground, they're already smart meters.
Mhm.
You're just trying to sell us a software.
It's really, you guys already have the software. Your software is here, and you guys collect reads once a month. What I propose, driving by, not manually reading, but driving by and picking them up takes a few hours to read
Yep.
meters, come back, you bring that data in. What I'm proposing is the hardware to go on the water tower, and then one here at Town Hall, or potentially out at Stardust, to collect reads 24/7, and then automatically drop that information in here. So you can tell exactly when somebody started to have a leak, exactly what consumption that everyone is using, and having, and instead of being reactive, Mrs. Jones, who normally uses 300 gallons a month, is using 300 gallons an hour every hour. She's got a major leak, and she didn't know for 28 days, because it takes you 28 days to read your meters, or 30 days to read your meters. We would know immediately, or within hours, if that person does happen to have a leak.
Obviously, based on the parameters or the settings that you set on your notifications in the system, Jason or Richard could be notified of a situation like
So
that.
this
Yes.
is just real-time data without
real-
putting a man in the truck to go read it?
Correct. And we're not gonna get to 100% right away. We put 2 of these towers up. We're gonna get in the probably high 80s to low 90 percentile of picking up all of your meters. The rest will still have to be driven by and picked up, and so those aren't gonna be calling into the tower because they may be too far away. But we have the option to put on cellular radios to those to eventually get to 100%.
For an additional cost.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
Yes,
Question.
yes.
I got a question. If there is it still something that has to be manually looked at? Or is there a system in place that if possibly an unusual increase happens, that it alerts us?
Your alerts are right here on your dashboard, so.
So you have to go in manually and look at that, right?
You do have
Nothing
to.
automatically comes up and says.
You can set email alerts. If somebody does go into a leak status, if you will, you can set it to get an email as soon as somebody does go into leak status. So it sort of changes the way, instead of being, reactive, you can be a lot more proactive with anybody who happens to have any kind of issues.
Can I sign up as a customer, as a residential customer, to get a notice if I have a leak?
No, you cannot. Now, with the customer portal, yes, you could. But with this system right here, no, you cannot. This is really in-house. This is for Richard and the office to go over this information, to be monitoring this information, to be better stewards of your customers in the end. So,
Which geographic area do you cover?
me particularly, the whole state of Indiana. So we are in the state of Indiana. Utility Supply Company, we're a small family-owned business. We're
Yeah.
49 employees. There are 4 of us that are on the meter team. 3 of us are out and about doing meter stuff. And then we've got 1 in-house IT person. And
How long have you been offering this program?
this program it's been in a sort of a different form. Right now, since now that we are on the cloud, we have cloud-based computing, we've had this around for probably 15 to 18 years in some form. But previously, you had to own a server, so that's 30, 40 grand. You have to have the software, you need IT assistance on that server, but now everything's on Amazon Web Services, and so that information goes directly to the cloud, effectively cutting the amount that you guys have to pay for software and all that.
Richard, what would this do to benefit you?
Well, it's a few hours of not reading meters, but it's going to benefit all the customers in the office, I think, more so with all this information. I mean, when he's saying those top 10 customers, the office could get in the routine to come in and they're going to know those 10 customers. And then say someone did spring very high usage, then they would notice them new on the list without having to go through the whole thing.
Yeah.
And with all the information it's going to provide daily,
Yeah, total gallons
explained,
used,
it's-
yeah.
they can pull it up, and when they get the phone call, they could have the information right there.
So depending on the location of said antenna, would determine whether or not you fall in the radius of its coverage.
Correct. That's correct.
And you're saying, depending again on location of antenna, the placement, what is the max number of residents outside of that radius that we would be looking at?
So if we were to just look at the study here, right now Neptune is on the version 4 meters. You guys, the majority of your meters are version 3 meters. You've got about 660 of them that are version 3 meters. That's all well and good. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just an older style meter. And so this is the coverage map with the V3 meter. And if I look, all the blue dots are your meters. And bear with me, I'm gonna flip back to give you a percentage. So that bottom percentage, the 4B map, that bottom line item there, R900 V3 daily, we're looking at 80.52% coverage. But that's not factoring in the V4 meters. You have about 340 V4 meters that are in the system. Those V4 meters, they have every 7.5 minutes, it sends off a signal that's 10 times stronger than our normal signal, with a packet of information giving us a current read, previous 15-minute read, previous 12-hour read. So if we look at a V4 meter, it's got a lot longer of a signal able to send out to those collector towers. So eventually, we're going to get to that top line item, which is 89% coverage with the towers. and that's.
So I'm assuming when we go to buy a new meter or replace a new meter, it is a V4
Correct.
in today's world.
Correct. Yes, so they're all V4 radios now.
Okay, explain what we got going on here.
Yeah, so anything in green on here, for those who are colorblind, anything in green on here is guaranteed coverage. You're going to be getting daily coverage, which is at least one read a day. Hourly coverage map looks very, very similar to this. So anything in yellow they consider marginal. And you may not be getting daily, but you're probably going to be getting within 3 days of billing read on anything in the yellow area.
This is representing how many antennas?
This right now is 3 antennas, Stardust, the water tank, and Town Hall. The study did not exclude, I really wanted them to exclude Stardust to make sure that we would have that coverage from the tank. It's within a mile. I have not seen a tower not pick something up within a mile. So I'm confident that we could eliminate the Stardust with using the water tank on the north side of town.
And what if it doesn't work? If we choose to move forward and it doesn't work? Relocation of said antenna?
Yes, you can absolutely relocate it. These were the best 3 points in your geographic location for these towers. So we had Neptune, we gave them a couple of spots, and they said these are your best 3 spots. Yeah, so they can be relocated absolutely, but then there's going to be, you have to move equipment and have somebody climb a tower again, things like that.
What is the cost per tower?
The cost for the equipment per tower is $22,500 for my equipment. For the water tank, for an existing structure, that's $14,500 for install of that. For if they have to place their own pole, like if we were talking about Stardust, or here at Town Hall, because I don't think this existing tower here would work because of the height of it. I think that was $28,000, I believe, it was on the Albright. $29,000 for install of a pole with the equipment. That includes, that's a turnkey, so that's installing the electric and all of that.
Well, the current software that we have with Neptune, will that work at what we have, or will we have to upgrade?
Absolutely. The software you
I
guys
didn't
are
get a question.
The software that we are currently using with Neptune, I wondered if that would work sufficient with the system, the way we have it, or if we have to upgrade our software as well.
No, there's no upgrade that needs to be done to the software. You guys are already on our cloud-based platform. So it's just the amount of reads you're bringing in. Instead of once a month, you're just bringing in more reads. Now, your current annual fee is $3,800 annually. I would expect that once this is all completed to be around $5,000 annually for your annual maintenance fee. So that goes up with the frequency that we're collecting reads and storing that data. It's based on the total number of reads that are going through the towers and being collected annually. So they'll take a snapshot and it's X amount per meter that's being picked up via the AMI system.
So it's the 78,000 plus $5,000 a year.
Correct, yes. Yep.
So would you be better off economically, since you did the study with 3 towers using the water tower as a fixed point because it's there, would you be better off relocating a tower midway between those 2 points and setting a separate tower for better coverage?
If we,
Well, just to be clear, this quote is only for 2 towers.
Well, and so
But what I'm saying is, he's taking and using the water tower, hoping to hit Stardust, versus if we went with a little additional expense to set a standalone tower closer to the water tower's point, that way it gets coverage of the whole area rather than a maintenance.
if I would request Neptune, if we could find a location of some property that you guys own, absolutely. I would just have Neptune reprop this and do another propagation study just to confirm that location before we actually go with that.
How many people hours would you save by having this system?
Well, then that's my point that I was gonna make, and then I'll just shut up and you guys
I
can
think
figure it out.
what Richard said was, what, a few hours a month?
On the reading part, but it's also gonna save the V5s, I'm gonna say, much less about the 3s,
But I mean, it's certainly-
transfer reading, if she needs a transfer reading, she can just get it right there at the office, she don't have to send.
Right.
But I mean, at $78,000,
That's a lot of man hours.
plus $5,000 a year, you're basically paying 2 of your guys. So to do this, we at least need to eliminate one position at $78,000 upfront.
I disagree with that comment wholeheartedly.
That's.
It's your opinion, and I respect it, but I don't think going to that extent is necessary. Please continue.
The payoff, it's a long payoff. And that's not really what this is. Yeah, it will eventually pay off, but it's gonna be a long payoff for this with the cost of equipment. You're not wrong about that at all. But what it is it's the power of all that information to be able to be better stewards of your customers by saying, hey, Mrs. Jones, I've noticed you've been using X amount of water for the past however many days or hours, and being able to head these leaks off, because I'm sure you get customers in here who have had leaks, who have fixed leaks, and you end up refunding the money, I'm sure. That's how most towns end up doing it. You can help eliminate that with this system, and just by having more information.
So, let's put it out there, single tower, best coverage, lowest expense, what's gonna be our coverage?
But that's hard to say. I think if we're in a mile radius, which the very far point of Stardust from the water tower on the north side is 1.04 miles. That's the furthest away meter in Stardust. I think it's gonna hit that.
But if
no
we
problem.
picked the best location and took those 3 locations off the picture, just
Mhm.
pick the absolute prime location for a tower, what kind of coverage could we gain?
It's a mile radius regardless, right?
A mile and a half?
Mile to mile and a half radius, yes.
And with the 4 meters, it's maybe a little more than that.
Correct.
So that's what I'm saying, if we pick the absolute optimum tower placement, what coverage could we get?
I would have to ask Neptune what that would be.
That's what I would like to see.
Sure,
because
sure, yeah, we can absolutely do that. I can have it reprop with just specific
the
towers in there.
optimum point of,
And that's why I put 2 towers on the quote, because I really don't think you're gonna need 3, and for the added cost, it's probably not going to
but if
pay
we're
off.
adding a second tower and we're only picking up, another 20 or 30%
Right, right.
coverage, and is it cost effective?
Sure,
Why
sure.
are the 2 that you propose, why isn't Stardust one of the 2? Because it is.
High population.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
I thought you weren't picking Stardust, you're picking the one up north.
Correct, the north tower, and that's simply because of elevation. That tower is on absolutely the highest point in town, plus it's 60 feet or so it's an extremely high point in town. You can see that from
But
almost
it's on the
anywhere.
edge of town, so you're losing all that coverage.
That's true, you're not, but
That's-
the height
But
is
that's why I'm suggesting going with an optimal tower placement for maximum coverage.
yeah, no, and I'm totally on board with that.
Because we're putting a proposed investment on the edge of town that's really only covering that edge of town.
Mhm.
The rest of the coverage is out in, agricultural
Right.
land, which is wasted transmission points.
Sure.
One question I have, because I just did the math. At 78,000, I call it 75,000. $5,000 a year investment. We're at least a 20-year ROI before we see anything. And that was my comment on why we would need to eliminate an employee to make this make sense. How many towns are going to this at this point in time?
It is much more popular. If you would have asked that question of me 6 years ago, I'd say not very many, but it's one of our biggest selling items now. And people, instead of saying, hey, we're gonna, get our meters and we're just going to drive by, they're saying, no, let's just go ahead and go with Cadillac and get the get the AMI system right out the gate. So it is more often than not, nowadays, within the last several years, it's quote the AMI system. We want the AMI system. Because everybody wants that data. Everyone wants as much information as they can. So,
I guess for me, as far as time's sake, I would like a little more information, because just rough math, I mean, it's a 20-year ROI to make it.
sure, yeah, no,
make
I-
sense.
yeah. Now, yes, for the payoff.
For the math.
For the payoff,
Yeah,
yes. You know, I think considering the amount of data that you get, that would be my selling point is anybody who has the system loves it because they can call their customers and let them know at any point if there's been any kind of issue. Or if somebody calls and says, hey, you know, I had a high bill last month. Well, let me just pull you up here. Okay, I see you use water, you know, continuously from this period to this period, and then now you're back to normal. It's all this information is right at your fingertips instead of having to roll a truck and demand to pull the history off of there. It's just right at the office's fingertips. So that's kind of the main selling.
But we're still not going to be 100% there. We're going to be 80%.
Yes, probably in the high 80s until we get everything changed out to V4, and then those meters that are on the outskirts that
So
have to use cellular. because
single
it's too
tower
far.
V4s, I'd be curious to see what our coverage would be.
Yeah, I can have Neptune reprofit.
Yeah,
It's
that's-
not a problem at all. Yeah, yeah. This is
You know, take the tower placement and put it in optimal rather than easiest.
Where are we on our schedule of replacement of meters? How long is over all A4? And you said there's an A5 already.
there's V3s and V4s.
Okay.
Yeah, they have what they call V5, and that's for high-density city populations. It's using a LoRa WAN network, not something that's going to happen out here. You guys right now, what you got, 300 of the 1,100 meters that are V4s right now. And in this quote, we also had a quote for 100 of the Mach 10 ultrasonic meters. That's our latest, greatest meter. With that meter, you do have a flat accuracy curve over the life of the meter, and that's kind of the big selling point. It costs more than your traditional meter that you guys have, but it has a 20-year accuracy guarantee.
Versus a V4 of how many years?
V4 has no accuracy guarantee because it's a mechanical meter and not an ultrasonic meter. It's got a 20-year warranty on it, 10-year full warranty, year 11 through 20 is prorated. We get that same 20-year warranty with the ultrasonic meter. However, you have a guaranteed accuracy over the life of the meter. So you are at the point, your meters are aging, and you do need to be thinking about changing them out, because as those mechanical meters, as time goes on, they tend to slow down over time. So with this, these don't slow down. You're maintaining your accuracy over the life of the meter, over the 20-year life of the meter.
Cost per meter?
$330.
$330 per meter, that's in a skid quantity.
That's 100. That's how.
That's that bottom line item on the utility supply.
For 100 of those. What if there's a power outage, say for 24 hours?
Yeah, power outage, you're going to be alerted that, you know, the gateway is down. So, and this has happened recently. We had a lightning strike that blew out one of the power supplies of one of our gateways. You're alerted right on your dashboard that there is a power failure. At that point, Richard calls me, said, all right, I can either be there this afternoon, maybe tomorrow, sometime within the week, I'll get there, diagnose the issue, and then comes meter reading time, you still have all of your equipment that you can drive by and still read your meters. So you have a built-in backup with the equipment that you guys already have. So in case the towers do go down, which is very rare, but lightning strikes do happen. So it's rare, but you have a backup. So you're never going to be without meter reading capability, because those meters are just constantly broadcasting 24/7.
Did you run any type of report on our savings, not only to our customer who we find out sooner about a leak, but, and they eventually get a discount on that, but we would still have to treat that through our plant at a cost.
Oh, yeah.
So do you have any type of data on projected savings based upon the last 2 or 3 years worth of?
I do not. That's a really good question, though.
I think that falls in line with Bryce's question as well.
Right, right.
And I don't wanna eliminate anybody, but if we're gonna 20 years ROI, like, it's gotta come from somewhere.
And we haven't even asked Kelly about financially,
Yeah.
where we pool this. I'm not asking
Oh,
council
sure.
for approval.
Right.
But if council was to, again, go for this entire quote, we haven't even gone down that rabbit, or that hole yet.
Yeah.
We've been planning on this, we've been running that upgrade. We've got money in the budget actually for next year. But I haven't seen complete numbers yet.
Actual figures.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we need to, how about I go to Neptune, I get individual location, prop locations, and you can go as fast or as slow as you want on this. You want to just do one tower, and we've got our guaranteed coverage here on one tower, great, and then we can see, because they tell you what the coverage is gonna be, they always under-promise and over-deliver on the coverage. That's why I can say confidently that the north tower will get Stardust, because we've seen this many times, they say, oh, yeah, it's marginal. No, it actually
But I
covers
guess that's
that.
what I'm looking at, is if we relocated that tower closer to the center point,
Mhm.
maybe we'll pick up more coverage.
What I would need from you to do that is a definite point that you guys either own property or that we can put up a tower there. That would be, is there anything between the tower and Stardust that?
I guess my opinion is if we're gonna do it to start and make this investment, we need to do it right from the start. We need to go.
We need a lot more research.
So, at least me personally, I would want it to be, I mean, I plan on living this town for the next 40 years. So, like, if we're gonna do it, let's do it.
Do it, yeah, yeah.
And so from you, I would want A, where you think the best location would be. B, how we ultimately get the town gets their ROI back. And C, how we maximize the system to the best they can be.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for
What
sure.
kind of height are we looking at the tower or what?
So there's a couple different options. There's an 85-foot wood pole. They've also got, I believe, a 90-foot fiberglass pole. The quote in here is for, I believe, an 85-foot wood pole. And that's a separate company. That's a company, they're actually the Neptune distributor in Ohio. So they know our product front and back. They just happen to do installs, we don't. So that's where I got those quotes from. And you may find if you got a local tower climber, no, you can use anybody to do this. They do an excellent job, and they it's turnkey. So they'll hook up the electrical. You're not having to source multiple, somebody to climb and then somebody to do the electrical and all that kind of stuff.
So do you know what council is asking of you for further information?
Yes, we want to do individual props, best location for the prop. See if I can find out any information on any kind of ROI.
The ROI cost savings?
Yep, cost savings, and, yeah. that's it.
I'm not speaking for the rest of you. If we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it the right way, right?
There's only one way to do it.
So,
Yeah.
that's my point.
And it's just in my experience, and especially for larger utilities, they'll put up one tower, see how it does, then put up another tower, and so a lot of times it is not a rip the Band-Aid off and we do everything all at once. That's why I only quoted you two, because I think we're gonna get the
Bandwidth.
major with two, and that third one I think is going to be overkill. And then we fill in with maybe cellular or drive-by on those.
Right.
I'd like to see data on other communities on their savings,
Okay.
if it's actually real or.
I bet Neptune has some white papers on that. Let me reach out and see what I can find out for ROI on that. it's never about eliminating a job, because Richard will tell you, there's enough ancillary stuff to send somebody to do versus, and we're only talking about a few hours of meter reading plus, yes, going out and pulling histories on meters, collecting individual reads on meters for read in, read out, so people move in, move out. So there's a lot of other stuff that isn't always mentioned.
What's the ideal height for the radars or
You
tenants to go on?
Yeah, you want to be in between, under 200, but above 100 to 200. The sweet spots like 120 to 160.
So a little higher than the towers you're talking about?
Right, little
So
higher,
what
especially
about
this town hall.
leasing cell towers from phone companies or
It's-
leasing ground to companies to build towers on, making money off of that, and then in
That's-
contract
yeah.
building onto their cell towers?
That's, cell towers are impossible. They do not allow anything other than cell on there, even though we're in a completely different broadcast band. They want nothing but their own equipment on there, but, it is an idea if you have property and install a tower.
It was just an idea.
Yeah, it's an idea. No, it's not a bad idea either.
Brandon, if I could say something. There are a couple things. I think there's more than just hours saved with just what Richard does, because there's time in the office that's spent on this as well. So if we have to do a reread, it's Tammy in there requesting the reread, Richard going out, I'm usually reviewing it. Then we usually have to do an adjustment on their account. And I don't even know how many adjustments, I haven't ever looked this up, but I bet you we do 3, 4, 5 a week.
There's several.
So we're doing adjustments, and these are all water leaks, anytime there's a water leak. I will say, when I was clerk in Bainbridge, and I always hate referring back to Bainbridge, but we were I believe, the very first to do this real time. This was a different system, but it was the first, we had the server and everything he was talking about, it was much more expensive. But we had the first real-time read system in Indiana, I believe. And we did exactly what he did. Every morning we'd come in, we would have to download it from the server. This, we don't have to do that. But we would see, and we could see if somebody had a water leak of 1 gallon. It was pretty darn amazing. We got it down, we didn't ever, or I should say, very seldom did we ever have a leak that we didn't know about that very next morning. We never did adjustments. I mean, it just didn't happen. We knew that morning that the person the night before had a leak, because you could see where there was a water usage at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. And we can see that information now. The only difference is we have to send Richard out to go get that information and collect that information.
Right.
With this, that data is sent straight to this office, and every morning, we're gonna know if there's a leak,
Yeah.
down to a gallon. When you see one of these reports, this is kind of a big brother thing, but we can tell when people use the bathroom at 2 o'clock in the morning. You can see when the 3 gallons flushes at 2 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning, and when they take their shower at 7 o'clock in the morning. We can see by looking at this. Now, we're not trying to say we're watching what people are doing.
Because we're not.
We don't really care.
Yeah.
But that's what this software can do. Now, it is very expensive. I think this is probably more a benefit to the customer than it is probably to us saving money. But the other thing I would say in here, in this cost, $33,000 of this is what's going to be meter replacement, which we're going to have to do anyway. That's a given. So I think you can probably deduct the $33,000 over time, and we're really looking at other costs there that we may not have necessarily had. It's a great system. It does work. I've seen it work. I was pleased with it. Unfortunately, if we decide to do this, we're going to have to pay for it. I was lucky enough to get a grant to do it up there, so it didn't cost. So that's a valid argument that's a nice chunk of change to pay off. So, but I think the expenses aren't just with what Richard's salary or his wages are. It's with Tammy, it's with Kelly, it's Rebecca, it's mine. And we get these calls, I don't want to say every day, but it's pretty frequent. Someone says, hey, my bill's wrong. We can go to it real time. And the second thing I'll say is, when a customer comes in and shuts off their utility, they may come into the office and say, hey, I'm moving out of town. I'd like to shut off my services. Now, what we would do now, we would say, okay, thank you, give me your forwarding address. And we'd send Richard out, that customer would be long gone, he's moved off to California, wherever he's moving to. With this system, we can go real time right then, we can print that darn bill right then. We can tell them exactly what the bill is and say, hey, this is what you owe us.
As they're standing at the window.
As they're standing at the window, and they're not gonna leave town to want a bill.
And I will say,
Sewer bill?
I do.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely.
And I will say, and I know I've made my comments, but there was my house is a prime example. All of a sudden, I come to pay my bill one month, and it was $1,300, and I'm thinking, what? And she was able to go back and figure out it was something messed up, but that could be a possible upside to the program as well.
Definitely.
Water leaks can put people in bad situations. We had a gentleman this year that I'd hate to guess how many hours Kelly and I and Susie and Tammy had invested in dealing with this one gentleman. And all of us felt bad. We ended up sending it to the township trustee, and this was all over a water leak. I mean, the time invested in this gentleman. Now, he did exactly what I knew would happen. He ultimately signed a agreement to pay and bolted. So we're still in debt and I'm sure we'll probably never see that money.
The apartment complex, for example, when we had the water problem there,
Those water leaks will be gone. I'm not saying it won't happen overnight or if you've got a weekend, but the most you're gonna have is probably 3 days before we know there's a problem. Now, we can call the customer at that point and say, hey, you've got a problem. Now, they may or may not fix it. But if they don't fix it, that's not on us. We're gonna charge them then. But if they choose not to make the repair, or if they choose to make the repair, we just save them a lot of money. Now, it may cost us money in revenue, because right now we're collecting money off of people that have water leaks.
Or not collecting.
I see it from both sides. I guess for me, you know what we've asked.
Yes.
If you can provide that.
Sure.
We'll reconvene and see where we go.
Excellent. I do appreciate the time.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah, thank you very much, and great questions. I will get back to you as soon as I have some information for you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. How far along, when are we gonna be able to just have meters that we can push a button and shut them off?
Shut them off, early next year. Early next year. We've got they're in beta testing right now. Now granted, you're gonna be paying almost at least double for that meter. It's gonna be very expensive to have that. There's servos, it's an extra battery, it has to have the cellular chip in it. So that technology we're there. Neptune's never the first one out with their technology. They kind of slow play it, see where people succeed and fail, and then they roll that all into their product. So this year we'll have it, or 2026.
We did talk about that and that would be a nice feature, but it is substantially more expensive, that real time, we can control whether we do turn-ons and turn-offs from the computer.
Yep. I'll believe it when I see it, when it actually works in the pit environment in Indiana. I'm not thrilled about selling these until I actually see their performance, so. Jason, I'll let you be a guinea pig. We'll get one to you. We'll put it on your house.
I live in Bainbridge.
Oh, yeah. Well.
And they love to shut me off.
The other nice feature about this is if you're a landlord and your tenant moves out, you can get that final bill before they disappear.
And you can look back, you can have up to 2 years worth of meter read history to be able to see the hour that they moved out, here was the reading on their meter, so, yeah. Yep. There's a whole lot, there's a bunch more that's in the software that I'm not gonna cover tonight. It's for, once you do have that software, but there's a whole lot of information you can get and things you can do with it, so.
Thank you again for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Jason, anything else?
Yeah.
Kelly?
You have your reports in your packet. I would just like to say some comments about our 2026 budget, which is the public hearing for, and we'll have the adoption hearing next month. I just want to make sure everyone knows that was advertised online on Gateway for everyone. It was posted here at the town hall. In the last several years, we have worked diligently on efficiency and trying to cut unnecessary spending, saving the town money. We worked diligently on intentional spending with what we were doing and saving, implementing long-range plans for the town's future. And now I think in being purposeful with taxpayer dollars, we're able to do several positive things without taking on debt, which would impact tax rates. So I just want to hit some highlights of things that we talked about in the budget talks that we have in the budget, things that we're working towards for 2026. We do have money in the rainy day budgeted for land acquisition. We're continuing to work towards upgrading Monon Avenue and potential future projects. We have money set aside for our community crossings local match to upgrade various roads in town. We have money budgeted for beginning on sidewalk upgrades. We have money budgeted for the park to begin working on a 5-year plan. For the police department, this budget also supports the reorganization of the police department and allows salaries to be brought up to market standards. In fact, you guys passed that last month. We started with that, giving these guys huge, much-deserved salary increases. It also increases their uniform allowance for the department. It's going to allow us to purchase a new police vehicle next year, 1 new police vehicle, and it starts as an asset rotation plan. And it's going to allow for some police equipment upgrades as well. With this budget, this budget will provide our local match for the Oprah grant that we just got. We're going to be doing a $1.1 million water project, utilizing grant funding and without issuing any debt for the town, which is huge. We've included money to upgrade our water meter systems, and we have money to renovate the storage area at the town hall, just some random upgrades. And this will continue and almost complete our goal of bringing all the town salaries up to market standards, enabling us to keep our good people. So I think the things we're doing are phenomenal, and the financial piece is, having a plan and sticking to it is incredible. I think we're doing some good things moving forward with this budget.
I just want to say, and Brandon and I were obviously in those meetings, while at times it maybe was a little back and forth, Kelly, the job you've done, thank you. The job you've done for this town, thank you. I mean, there is some very, very exciting things going on in Cloverdale right now, and I just publicly want to say thank you for your hard work.
Council, anything else for Kelly on next year's budget? Thank you, Kelly. Anything else?
That's it, thank you.
All right, this will bring us to ordinance 2025-13, prohibiting use of public records for commercial purposes. This is the first reading, council, that is in your packet as well. If there are no questions,
I will make a motion to approve and waive the second reading.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. This will bring us to ordinance 2025-14. This is abandoning old utility lines. This is a first reading for this ordinance as well.
Make a motion to approve and waive the second reading.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Jason, do you want to talk about readdressing?
Well, I think this is on here for the old part of town. As you know, we did vote to change addresses or the street names at Stardust. Everyone has been notified with regards to Flat Office, 911, Fire Department, Operation Live, Police Department have all been notified. There will be a transition period. I know it's going to be difficult for some people that live in those areas. Signs have been ordered. Hopefully they will be delivered soon. We ordered those about probably a week ago. So hopefully as soon as we get those in, we'll get those up. So, but that was all in the Stardust area. We do still plan to start on the readdressing of what I consider the old part of Cloverdale, and we'll work on that. That's just numerics. That wouldn't be a street change names. So,
Keep going.
well, I guess that's all. This isn't the-
You can go 10B, item 10B if you want. You can talk about 10C as well.
Convention Bureau, I think you've got an appointment. I don't know, was there somebody you wanted to appoint on that?
I was hoping you did make a recommendation.
I don't have a recommendation.
We still have an opening for the Putnam County Convention and Visitors Bureau. Again, if anybody's interested, please reach out.
Sorry.
CSX?
I can update you here.
Yep.
We did receive an offer to sell 2 sections of the CSX rail line through Cloverdale. Met with Brandon and Kelly yesterday morning, and Rebecca as well, to discuss some items in that. Before I present that fully to the council, I'd like to meet, I think Brandon and I are going to try to meet with them to, there were a couple of items that we didn't quite understand, so we just want to clarify some of those things and make sure everything was what we're expecting and what we're needing to do. Also, there is a grant that is possible that we might be able to apply for. It would be due by October the 1st. I just started looking into that this evening, yesterday, and then this evening. So I'll look into that further too. So just don't have a whole lot to update you. Once we get things figured out, I'd like to bring that back to the council for your consideration. But at least for the first time in 30 years, we're actually having communication with CSX, and hopefully we can get something accomplished.
Thanks for that update. All right, this brings us to new business. Last meeting we did talk about ADA in Title IV. Do we need to vote on this notice of non-discrimination?
She said yes, so I'm assuming yes.
I'm sorry?
Our consultant said yes, but it wasn't.
And that's just, so we just need unanimous or majority vote accepting it, correct?
Correct. Motion. Second.
Richard, we have to do this?
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It says the ADA plan needs to be approved at a 99 meeting,
Yeah.
and the Title VI needs to be approved and signed at our 99 meeting.
Okay. Well, we only have one on here.
I think
You
both
have-
of them are there.
You have the title, this implementation plan, that should be in your packet, something like that, that's a huge document. And you have letters on town letterhead, you should have notice of non-discrimination letter in there as well.
So then what we'll say is, council just approved the ADA.
Okay. This packet.
The plan, yeah.
And then if somebody council-wise wants to make a motion for the title packet, and then we'll need to approve that.
Motion for title packet.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then that should clear up any confusion. Okay. What do you have for Kylie Way?
I emailed that, I think, to the council a while back, but there could be a temporary closing, well, I know there will be. They're going to be doing the signal upgrades at the corner of Kylie and 231. 231 will still remain open, but this is an in-house project of ours. But there will be potentially 3 days of construction in that area.
We'll obviously communicate with the public.
Correct. The school corporation is aware of that, those dates already. And fire department, because they're right there on Kylie.
Good. Need, is that just?
No, it's just an FYI.
Yeah, they'll be responsible for any barricades and signage, because it's an NDOT project, so.
Gotcha.
We have no expense or anything, we just.
This will bring us to the opioid settlement.
So I will,
Yes.
there's been there was bankruptcy filed. We received an email from our attorney at Martin Thornburg asking if we wanted to continue. It was a little interesting because we have an agreement with them to represent us in this matter. I'll reach out to them and get an update and to see if there's any changes to the original agreement, and if we're proposing something else, I'll get back to you.
Council, anything? Anybody from the audience? Okay, this meeting is adjourned.